Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. Alright, Reddit, buckle up. This is going to be a wild ride. And I know a lot of people are going to think I'm the bad guy. But I need to get the whole story out there, so here it goes. Years ago, I married my ex-wife, Anna. We met in college, fell head over heels, and built what I thought was a picture-perfect life together. We got married, and not long after, we welcomed our first child, a boy. A couple of years later, our daughter was born. I was overjoyed to be a father, and I went all in. Every dad duty you could think of. That was me. I was at every game, every recital, every parent-teacher conference. Those kids were my whole world. But things started to feel off between Anna and me as the years went by. She became secretive and distant, but I tried to brush it off as the strain of raising two young kids. I never would have guessed what was actually going on. Then, one night, everything came crashing down. Anna had a fight with her best friend over something petty, and in her anger, her friend came straight to me and spilled a bombshell. "Those kids? They're not yours," she said, fueled by spite. I thought it was a cruel joke at first, but the details she shared, names, dates, things that made too much sense, shattered that hope. I had no choice. I had to know the truth. I got a DNA test done on both kids, and when the results came back, it felt like my world was collapsing around me. Neither child was biologically mine. I had been lied to for nearly a decade. My whole life was a lie. I confronted Anna, and she didn't even try to deny it. She broke down, admitted everything, and just cried. I was numb. I filed for divorce, packed my things, and left. I cut ties with Anna and the kids entirely. I know that may sound harsh, but I just couldn't handle the betrayal. They were a painful reminder of everything I'd been deceived into believing. After the divorce, Anna tried to get child support, but when the court saw the DNA results, they ruled I wasn't legally responsible. I focused on rebuilding my life. I met a wonderful woman who became my rock, and we built a family together. My career in politics took off, and I found a sense of peace I'd never thought possible. I thought that chapter of my life was over. I thought I'd moved on. But then, years later, I was blindsided. Out of nowhere, I started getting calls from my PR team. They told me that Anna's kids, who are now young adults, had gone to a talk show accusing me of being a deadbeat dad. They said I abandoned them, never paid a dime in child support, and left them and their mother to struggle while I lived a luxurious life. They painted me as the villain who'd turned his back on his family without a second thought. I was furious. These kids, who aren't even biologically mine, were publicly slandering me. And from what I gathered, Anna had never told them the truth. They grew up believing I was their father and that I'd abandoned them. She had continued lying all these years, making me the bad guy. At first, I wanted nothing more than to clear my name, but I realized that a public back and forth would only make things messier. Instead, I decided to take legal action. I gathered my lawyer and all the evidence, the DNA test results, the divorce paperwork, and the court ruling, and prepared to file a defamation lawsuit. But before I went through with it, I decided to confront the kids face to face. I wanted to give them the chance to hear the truth directly from me before things got ugly in court. We met in a quiet cafe, and the tension was thick. I could see the resentment and pain in their eyes. They didn't even want to hear me out at first. But I asked them to sit down and listen. And as I explained everything, the DNA tests, the lies, the years of betrayal, their expressions shifted from anger to shock. They both broke down, right there in the cafe. Mark, the older one, said he'd never known anything about this, that their mom had always told them I was their father. They had grown up wondering why I just left one day without a word. Sarah, the younger one, kept saying she couldn't believe it, that everything they'd been told was a lie. At that moment, I felt a strange mix of relief and guilt. They were just as blindsided as I had been all those years ago. As we were talking, Anna walked into the cafe. She must have known about the meeting because she rushed over and immediately started sobbing. She apologized over and over, saying she had kept the truth from them because she thought it would be too painful, that she had wanted to protect them from losing a father. She begged me not to go through with the lawsuit, pleading that the kids didn't know and were just as much victims as I was. I could see the desperation in her eyes. For a moment, all the anger and resentment I'd carried around for so long felt like it was slipping away. I didn't want to be the one to add more pain to the lives of these kids who'd been caught up in something they had no control over. I told them that while I couldn't be in their lives as a father, I wasn't going to take them to court. I would set the record straight in private, and if they ever wanted to reach out, I'd be open to that. But I needed to protect myself and my family, and I couldn't have their accusations looming over my life. Since that meeting, I've kept some light contact with Mark and Sarah. It's been slow and tentative, but I think they just needed to process the truth. I still feel the weight of the betrayal, but I know I made the right choice in holding back on the lawsuit. My wife has been incredibly supportive through all this, even though it's brought some strain into our home life. She understands that I needed to put these painful chapters to rest, not just for me, but for everyone involved. Anna still hasn't made things easy. She sent me a long letter afterward, apologizing again, but honestly, I'm not sure if I can ever truly forgive her for the years of lies and manipulation. So, am I an a-hole for wanting to sue my ex-wife's kids? Those poor kids. They grew up believing their dad abandoned them, only to find out it was all based on a lie. I'm glad OP met with them to give them the truth. They'll need time to process, but at least they can start rebuilding with honesty. It's good OP decided not to file a lawsuit. It shows that OP really did care about them once. And the kids are innocent in all of this. They are just victims of their mother's manipulation. OP, I don't know how you held it together through all of this. The betrayal, the lies, and the public accusations. I don't think many people would have handled it as gracefully as you did. The fact that you didn't go through with the lawsuit speaks volumes. Those kids got caught up in a nightmare they didn't create, and it's sad that they had to grow up believing you were the bad guy. Wishing you and your family healing. Anna's lies didn't just hurt you. They hurt those kids deeply, and it's tragic. I get why you left and moved on, and honestly, you don't owe anyone an apology for doing what you had to do to heal. It's easy for people to judge, but they don't know the pain of discovering that your whole life was a lie. Thanks for sharing the story, OP. It's heavy, but you handled it with integrity. Man, I'm furious on your behalf. Anna's accusations are unforgivable. Lying to her kids and dragging your name through the mud? Unbelievable. The fact that you let go of the lawsuit is a testament to your character. Anna robbed you of peace for years, but now you've taken the high road and let the truth come out. I hope Mark and Sarah can rebuild with you. They deserve the truth and a shot at a real connection, no matter how complicated. Update. Hey Reddit, I wanted to share an update because things have finally come to a conclusion. After the emotional meeting with Mark and Sarah, I spent days reflecting on everything that had been said and the years of lies that had brought us to this point. It was clear to me that they had been deceived by Anna, who had fed them the narrative that I was their father and had abandoned them. I sympathized with their pain and confusion, but I also couldn't ignore that they'd gone public with their accusations, potentially harming my reputation irreparably. After speaking with my wife, my PR team, and my lawyer, I decided on a middle ground. I wasn't going to sue immediately, but I told Mark and Sarah that if they wanted to avoid a lawsuit, they needed to publicly set the record straight. They had accused me of being a deadbeat dad without knowing the truth. Now that they did, I expected them to correct the narrative. When I laid out the terms, Mark and Sarah seemed hesitant at first, but I explained that this was my way of giving them a chance to make things right. I wasn't asking them to drag Anna through the mud or share every detail, but I needed them to publicly retract the claims they had made about me. After a few days of consideration, they agreed. They understood that their accusations had put my reputation at stake and that this was a fair compromise. The apology they issued was sincere and straightforward. In a joint statement, they clarified that they had been unaware of the truth about their paternity and that they had been misled. They publicly apologized for the accusations and expressed their regret for any harm caused. The apology was picked up by the media, and it helped immensely. People saw that there was more to the story, and the weight of those initial accusations began to lift. In a way, it was a relief for everyone. My reputation was restored, and Mark and Sarah could start to rebuild without carrying the lie that had defined their lives for so long. My birth mother, Linda, 50s female, paid all my college debt off a few years ago. My adopted mom passed away when I was 12, and my dad, 62 male, Works a lot and lives in another state. I'm not close with him. He's not someone who really likes to keep in touch much. I, 27 female, was contacted by Linda when she got sick. She said she wanted to tie up loose ends. I had a great relationship with her for 2 years before she passed. During this time, she told me she had 2 other kids. They were both older than me. Linda had me during a time when she was divorced from her husband, slept with another man, and couldn't care for me. I don't blame Linda for my life. I had a good one. I get it. So we were able to have a sort of aunt-niece relationship. She paid off my student loans for me, saying she did it for all her kids. Long story short, Linda passed away 6 months after paying for my loans. I got a check in the mail and did not attend her funeral, as it was in another country from where I am now living. I did, however, send her husband flowers for her grave and plan to visit when I have time off from work. I got a box of keepsakes from her, pictures of when she was pregnant, a baby book she made for me, letters, and a check for a small amount, less than $2,000. There was a note with the check saying I should spend the holidays with my father. I don't make enough money to come home, and Dad cannot pay the $2,000 for a ticket. Linda is one of the nicest people I have ever had in my life, and I felt guilty that she gave me money. But she changed my life when she did. I wouldn't be able to teach in Korea if not for her, which was a dream of mine. Recently, I've gotten a message from my half-brother, Jason, 39 male. He said that he has read the will and saw I was listed on there. He looked me up on Facebook and found some pictures of Linda and me together, so he knew it was me. He told me that he had 2 kids. One was 12, the other 16. He told me that he had gone over his mother's bank statements and found she gave me a large sum of money. I explained she paid off my student loans. He then accused me of using his mother for cash, that I was not entitled to the cash, and the money came from a college fund Mom had set up for her grandkids. You are not her daughter or my sister. I am furious that you would come into her life and demand money from her. You had parents. I've had other people write me on Facebook that I don't know but figure are related to Linda. One is the daughter, 16, and the other is an aunt, 50s. They have all said the same thing. I took advantage of a dying woman, promised things I shouldn't have, and took what belonged to the daughter. They want me to pay for daughter's education. I told them no. I was not going to do that. I don't know this girl. I don't know them. All I knew was Linda. I blocked them all and locked down my profile. I am just at a loss for what to do. I didn't ask Linda to pay for my college, and I certainly didn't ask her to deny some girl her education. I am debt-free, living a good life, and now I feel like some girl got crapped on because of me. My birth family now thinks I am a manipulative brat, that I swooped in and took some poor sick lady's money. I don't know what to do. You did exactly the right thing. You told them you don't owe them anything and cut contact with them. Quite frankly, the fact that she didn't leave it for your half-brother, followed by his demands and the unsolicited calls from strangers berating you, makes me think it was probably intentional. You did nothing wrong. That money was Linda's to give as she wanted, and she did. If you're not his sister, why the hell would you be giving him money? Hoist by his own petard a bit, I think. Ignore them. Linda did exactly what she said she was going to do, paying for all her children's education. Maybe she had wanted to pay for her grandchildren too, but unfortunately she wasn't able to. That's in the past, and this guy isn't even your brother, apparently. Just some random rude beggar sending you nasty messages. Treat him like that. It's what he must want. You did the right thing. They are just even more greedy, and they are the ones taking advantage of their poor mother. They feel more entitled to the money because they've known her longer, but that doesn't mean those were her final wishes. I'm facing a situation and not sure how to handle it. In April of this year, my oldest niece, Dawn, 30, announced that she and her boyfriend would be getting married September 5th of this year. My niece asked me to please handle all centerpieces and any decor for the wedding, as well as being her maid of honor. I was thrilled and worked my butt off for 4 months. It was really hard work, but I pulled it off, and my niece was over the moon with how her wedding turned out. Dawn left all of the decor up to me, saying I could do what I wanted, and thankfully, she and everyone else at the wedding loved it. At the reception, my youngest niece, Leah, 18, decided that her oldest sister's wedding was the best time to tell everyone that she and her boyfriend are getting married on Halloween this year. I was busy and had heard her saying something, but didn't really think about it again until this afternoon. Dawn called, saying Leah had called her saying she had bought her wedding dress. Leah told Dawn that since Dawn makes cakes, she wants her to do her wedding cake, and she loved what I did for Dawn's wedding, so she wants me to do hers as well. While I'm glad to be the person she wants to decorate her wedding, this brings up a crapload of issues. Issue 1. 3 months ago, my mother, 60, and I booked a trip for out of town the weekend Leah has picked for her wedding. Call me selfish, but we have been really looking forward to this trip. Our lives have been kinda crazy, and the time away is really needed. Issue 2. I paid for all the crap I needed to make the centerpieces and to decorate for Dawn's wedding. I told her it would be my husband's and I's wedding gift to her. I paid for everything so she could have really nice stuff that I knew she couldn't afford on her own, and Dawn was over the moon. At that time, I had the money to do it. 2 weeks before Dawn's wedding, I moved into a new house, then got laid off the next day. So my money is tight. I have a family to help support. Leah told Dawn she has zero money for decorations and the cake, meaning she expects Dawn to make the wedding cake, pay for it, and pay me for decor and centerpieces. With Dawn and myself just paying for Dawn's wedding, we are all tapped out. She is also expecting my parents to pay for the food, since they just paid for the food at Dawn's wedding. Issue 3. Leah picked October 30th for the day of the wedding. We live in southern Indiana, and weather in the Midwest this time of year can be either rain or even snow. The location of the wedding is at my parents' farm, outside. There is nowhere to go if it rains or anything. It's all 100% outside. So I'm not going to lie. Leah is, and always has been, a huge a-hole. She thinks just because she says, "This is what I want," everyone should hop too. She can be really ducking difficult just because. Dawn asked Leah what kind of maid of honor dress she needed to look for, and Leah's answer was, whatever. She wants her wedding cake to be Nightmare Before Christmas themed, said her wedding color is navy blue, and doesn't have any thoughts about anything else. So she wants everyone to do everything, and come up with it all on our own. And with dealing with Leah, that means that even though she purposely didn't say what she wanted, what you give her will not be good enough or right, and she will throw a fit. It's the reason I had to stop buying her anything for Christmas and her birthday. Nothing was good enough, and she'd freak, so no more gifts. So my question, Reddit, is, how do I go about talking about all of these issues with Leah? I can't do what she wants. None of us can. While I do want to do for her what I did for Dawn, I'm just not in the place to do it again this soon. If I could talk her into moving the wedding to December and having it at her dad's giant building, I could do what she wants. No one would be in the rain or snow, and my mother and I won't be out of town. How do I tell her this without her turning it into me just trying to tell her what to do? The wedding is at your parents' farm when your mother won't be there. Yep. My niece didn't ask anybody anything. She just started telling everyone when she's getting married. I'm telling Leah Tuesday about the trip and everything I put in my post. I want her to actually listen and not think I'm being a jerk or don't care or something. Maybe your mom could say, listen, I don't feel comfortable having dozens of people at my house when I'm away on vacation. You may use my farm, but not on a weekend when I'm not there. You have to reschedule or find somewhere else. And then watch the whole thing implode while she can't find a venue this late in the game anyway. Update. Sunday night I called my mom and told her everything. I pointed out that we will be gone on the weekend Leah was wanting to get married on, and said that for once I would be putting my foot down. We will be going on the trip. Mom laughed and said not to worry and that Leah has lost her damn mind if she thinks any of us will pay for anything. I told her to call my dad before my sister had a chance to lie to him. My dad said the same thing as Mom and decided to call Leah's dad to find out what was going on. Leah's dad said he told Leah that since he just bought her a car and his business is getting ready to shut down for winter, he could not afford a wedding for her this year. He told her to put the wedding off till around May of next year, and that would be enough time. Leah lost her crap. Her dad said after a lot of screaming, she finally yelled, "I'll pay for it myself." And apparently in Leah's mind, that meant getting all of us to pay for it. My dad said he needed to tell Leah that not a single one of us will ever pay for her to get married, ever. And if she just absolutely has to, she can do it at the courthouse. Later that night, Leah's dad called my dad back and said he sat Leah down and demanded to know why she was pushing for a wedding so soon. Turns out, her boyfriend is joining the Navy, and they thought it'd be a good idea to get married. Her dad told her that none of us are paying anything for her wedding, and she would have to go to the courthouse if she had to, but there will be no wedding this year. After an hour of yelling, Leah said fine and she will just move the wedding to next year. But honestly, if her boyfriend is going away, I can totally see her finding a new guy while he is gone, and this whole wedding thing going away. Well, a few people wanted an update to the update, so I thought I'd let everyone know that Dawn and I found out today that Leah got married Tuesday. Absolutely no one knew about it but Leah's mom, my sister. Dawn called her today to try to get her to talk Leah out of the whole marriage thing altogether. Dawn said to her mom that there's no way she could think it's a good idea for Leah to get married, and my sister replied, "Well, it's kinda too late for that." Dawn asked her mom what the hell that meant, and she said they snuck off Tuesday and got married at the courthouse. My sister tried to act like Leah had no choice since it's my fault none of us would pay for her wedding. Apparently, I somehow have the power to tell my parents not to pay for a wedding, and since I thought my trip was more important and refused to let my mom cancel, what was Leah supposed to do? Dawn went off on her mom and stuck up for me, but I couldn't care less if she is blaming me. I cut my sister out of my life 6 years ago, so anything she says means nothing in my life. Leah says they will have a real wedding next year, and Dawn told her mom that when she does have it, not to ask her for a cake or me to decorate. Dawn said we will not help in any way, and she told me she's gonna beat me if I help, but I told her not to worry about it. So yeah, that's that I guess. Hope my sister can pay for the divorce. I, 34 female, found out from my brother, 40 male, that my sister, 45 female, has been talking crap about me. Everything from I am gaining weight, not really, to Ghost must have an eating disorder. She calls me stingy, greedy, and pathetic. She said my boyfriend left because I must be ugly naked and have no redeeming qualities. I have the best job in my whole family and was being nice about helping out my sister. She lost her husband 2 years ago, car crash, and has been in trouble financially. She got on her feet, I paid off some bills, and was paying for a private school for my niece, 11, and my nephew, 12. I live 2,000 miles away and cannot see my family very often. We talk on the phone and see one another every 4 years. My brother told me I should just stop trying with sister because she uses others. He stopped helping her out when she outed him as gay to our parents, when he was 35. I didn't know she was responsible for that. He sent me texts she sent him and Facebook messages. I asked her about them over Skype and she admits she said it, but it was a joke. The things she wrote were very hurtful, rude, and cruel. She then said I owe her because I had better opportunities as a kid. I told her I was done paying for anything and to never speak to me again. While it will hurt to not see my nibblings, I want nothing to do with my sister now. She has been nasty in the past, but I thought she grew up. I have made sure that any bills I was helping with no longer come out of my bank account, and I have called the school, letting them know my payments will stop soon, so they need to speak with my sister. I do not feel bad about taking the money from schooling because there are great free public schools in the area. Knowing she is the reason my parents no longer speak to my brother, and by association, me, I am bisexual, makes me kind of hate her. She called me such nasty names and said such terrible things, when I have done nothing but try to help her. She has been sending me crying texts about how her kids need to go to the private school and how she misses me. This was 2 weeks ago, and I am still not willing to speak to her. I feel she is using her children to make me feel bad, and I don't need that in my life. I am second doubting myself, though. I want to know what other people think and would like some words of wisdom. Am I doing the right thing? Am I handling this right? Do I need to have a more detailed conversation with my sister about her behavior? To get money, other people need to clean toilets or stand in front of a hot stove for 14 hours a day or have sex with gross old people. You didn't even have to be grateful. All you had to do to keep getting free money is not be nasty. You couldn't manage it. These are the consequences. Feel free to try one of the options above. Nope, nope, nope. You are definitely doing the right thing. You don't owe her anything. She sounds like a horrible, toxic person. She's 45? Jeez. She's not going to change. She's only crying to you now because you cut her off financially. Your brother is right. She's a user. You don't need that in your life.